BMO is 92Q.com, home of Ricky Smiley and non-stop jams. Urban Informer with Miss Dunaway.
How you doing?
Got a lot to talk about. The brand new label.
That's right.
About your TV show.
That's right.
Hair Caroline.
That's right.
We find out, of course, the brand new album.
Something About Faith
in stores now.
Online.
Wow, 5 years.
Well, I mean, I transitioned from that label home.
Right.
Number one, I just didn't. They were undergoing so many changes that I didn't. I just didn't want to take the chance at putting my heart and soul and time into making a project that I really didn't know how it was going to be handled in this different in their infrastructure. The way
Right.
So I waited it out to get released from there. In the meantime, I found out I was pregnant with my 4th child, who's now 3, my son Ryder. And this guy, a book agent, had been pursuing me for some years, and I'm like, I ain't really ready to do that. I ain't over. But he was like, I finally, he kept pursuing me, and I'm like, you know what? I got some time on my hands. I'm about to have a baby, so maybe I should do that. So shout out to everybody who supported my memoir, Keeping the Faith.
Yes.
Keep the Faith, rather. And then I acquired my imprint through E1 Music. So for the last year and a half, I was actually working on this new album. So I'm happy.
How did you prepare for this album?
It was just, everything just kind of happened and fell into place, thank God. I found a little studio. These people gave me the keys. I didn't even hardly have to pay them anything until I had something to pay them.
Right.
It was right centrally located by my kids' school and my house. I tried to keep everything local so that, because got 4 kids, there's always something going on. It was certainly a blessing, just the fact that so many artists and producers and writers, that I respect, wanted to be a part of the project, which is kind of how it ended up being so featured. I definitely ended up having to go in my pocket for some stuff, but it'll pay off on the other end. Plus, I own my masters.
Hello. On the album, you got Keisha Cole, Raekwon, Redman,
Snoop Dogg, Kelly Price, Jessica Reedy, Estelle, and Little Mo. Shout out to Little Mo.
To Meezy. Now, would you say Something About Faith is your most personal album?
In the studio, I've always been very hands-on creatively, but in the sense that every single aspect of the project, I was certainly 100% hands-on. I think this was, in that sense, my most personal album because every aspect of it, even outside of the recording booth,
What made you pick Gone Already as your first single, which I gotta say, my favorite song off the album.
Really? Thank you.
Favorite.
Thank you. When I heard Gone Already, it was actually written already, and I was done recording. So I thought
already,
and I and I thought that I was done, and I heard I'm like, this is a great song, but it was demoed by a guy, so I had them change the key. Got in the studio, I played around with some of the parts, rearranged them, and rewrote a few lines here and there. And I had to put my little stank on it. And then when I heard it, I was like, okay. And we were trying to figure out what the first single was going to be anyway before I heard it. So I'm like, I think that's it. It was just, since I've never come out with a ballad first, I was like, I'm not sure. But, you can never lose. You can never lose. And it's, ballads tend to have a longer life.
Yes. And I saw the video actually also. Did you help design or create the theme for that video?
No, actually, Deion Watkins, he directed some Farnsworth Bentley's, a few of his videos, and Anthony Hamilton, and he's a friend of mine.
Now, when you were doing the video, the news broke, Faith was arrested. Do you think the media blew that out of proportion?
Oh, I know they did.
The DUI?
After the fact, yeah. But, that comes with the territory.
Right.
Because that's not, it's basically, it was real simple. It's a checkpoint. I live by the beach. It's there every weekend. So there's no way in hell I'm about to be driving down the block with the checkpoint drunk. Right. So I wasn't pulled over for driving a certain way. It's the checkpoint. In this particular time, everybody had to go through it. Instead of, sometimes you can just...
And they made it seem like...
And he asked me, had I been drinking? And I said, I had a little bit of wine, but I live up the street. I'm fine. Probably shouldn't have told him that. But as soon as I got out the car, they drove it away. So it was pretty obvious. They knew they were going to take my car already. It's pretty... Everybody out there kind of in L.A., they kind of know to deal with that whole checkpoint and their quotas and all that. But, I was in jail for a couple of hours. Went home, took a shower, got up, and I was at my video the next morning. It was not that serious. My kids ain't scared to get in the car with me. They know they mother.
She could be drinking.
Right.
I would say my favorite album, which I'm still bumping today, is Faith Evans' The First Joint.
Really?
Yes.
I guess that's a classic album, but it's so funny that I listened to it and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I got an egg in I don't know if it's some stuff on there that I would change. I remember some things I wanted to punch, but Puff used to be like, no, keep it. It's just raw. I'm like, all right. But it's definitely a classic album. Just that time and that era, you know what I mean, to be a part of music at that time, and to be a part of something as special as Bad Boy in its beginning, you know. It was a lot of fun, to say the least.
Do you think in the movie Notorious that you were portrayed correctly?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, there's minor things that are just cinematic moments that are not exact, but those are just minor things. But as far as who I am and, you know, how our relationship was and how I never expected anything, but you know what it is what it is. And me and Miss Wallace have maintained a great relationship, and me and everybody else that was in his life, for the most part, maintained a great relationship. It was based on a book that anybody whose character was portrayed in the movie, we all had to sign off for that.
Right.
It was based on a book that we all talked to this writer of, so, you know, that's just how it goes. But you can't put every single aspect into 2.5 hours, you know, so. But I thought they did a great job. I'm proud that, you know, that his legacy was recognized in the sense of them actually doing a biopic on him. You know, that was a great thing. And speaking of which, I'm about to start in a biopic that's being done on Florence Ballard.
Really?
I'm the lead role, honey. How
there you go. Do you have any fear, like when you're releasing, like, is this going to work? Is this going to flop? Or?
Nah. I mean, I don't measure my success by that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Of course, you want to make an impact. And I've just, believe it or not, you know, and I'm not just saying this, I'm always just like, wow, pleasantly surprised. But I don't take it as, you know, I think maybe that's why God blesses me and I still have fans, because I don't just take myself so seriously, like, you know, I'm the next coming. People don't have to love what I do, but when they do, I appreciate it. And I'm always the same me, and I try and stay in my lane and give them what they want from Faith Evans.
What's this I hear about you working on some TV projects?
Oh yeah, I actually just finished filming a pilot for this reality show that I'm doing with Misa Hilton, Justin's mother. Also, I wrote a sitcom that I'm in talks to do a development deal for, but you know, I kind of held off on that because I did that a few years ago. I wrote the sitcom, but at that time, you know, they were kind of going away from having sitcoms on TV. Now they're coming back, so, you know, people are kind of pursuing it again. So yeah.
So what's the reality show about?
It's about basically me and Misa having been friends since the Bad Boy days, still working in the industry, but we've transitioned to other entrepreneurial ventures. I'm launching a line of hair care products called Glass Hair Products. She has her boutique and a line of hair and wigs that she's coming out with, and we both have kids that are on their way to college. So, you know, it's kind of more about how we balance all of those different aspects and still maintain the relationship that we have, having gone through so many different things, you know, in this music business.
But you're working on a new book also.
I am. I always tend to share the information that I've acquired, you know, when I see that people need a point in the right direction, and people are always like, you should do a book like
Do any of your kids want to get into the music industry?
Absolutely. Actually, my daughter is like a full-fledged producer, writer.
Wow.
I mean, she's dope. She wants to go to college for music. She always told me she didn't want to be a singer. She was very much more behind, you know, she writes stuff, writes songs, being there recording CJ and John. She wants to go to Thornton School of Music at USC or the Clive Davis School of Music at NYU.
Okay.
But she's a straight A student, so I'm like, please just minor in something else. All of them are dope. I mean, my son Josh can really blow. CJ was the only soprano in the choir in elementary school, the only male soprano. I love Jasmine Sullivan. You know, I love Keisha Cole. But, I mean, there's a new sensation every day, whether it's via YouTube. You don't know about It's So Cold in the D. That's my favorite artist.
Would there ever be a chance for you and Mary to work again together?
Oh, heck yeah.
She was here.
I know she's with it. I mean, that would be history.
It would.
Right there, history all over again.
Are you going to tour with Something About Faith for this album?
I am. I'll probably be going out closer to the holidays, like November and December. But any promoters that might have some spot dates.
Get it in.
I am doing spot dates.
I heard you did the show with Drew Hill. You did a show with Drew Hill recently up in New York.
Yeah, it was a great show.
I heard you killed it.
Shout out to Drew Hill.
Faith Evans, Something About Faith is in stores right now.
That's right.
It's always a pleasure.
Yes, it is.
We're going to go party now.
Okay.
It's BMoores, 92Q.com.
Can I get a glass of wine? I ain't driving.
I got you.